Mining Green Metals is got three projects coming out of Australian Vanadium and Bryah Resources, a suite of green metals prospective for copper, nickel, lithium, platinum and palladium. We're looking to raise $5 million to progress these projects. The prospectus is currently open at the moment. It's been a priority offer to the Australian Vanadium and Bryah Resources shareholders. That priority offer is now full, and we're looking to close this prospectus towards the end of this month and list on the ASX in coming May. We have two projects coming out of Australian Vanadium. The Coates Nickel Copper Platinum Palladium project just north of Perth, 26 kilometres south of where Julimar have had their, Chalice Mining have had their Julimar discovery. We have to the east of Perth, 400 kilometres east of Perth in the Lake Johnston area. In that lithium corridor, we have 700 kilometre square tenement package there under 8 grant tenement licences. And we have the Nathana Hill uranium resource under granted mining licence in the Murchison area of WA.
The story about Coates in particular, which is the first project off the rank for this company, is the Coates asset, which earlier mentioned was about 30 kilometres south of the Julimar discovery. This is a project that Australian Vanadium had picked up as a vanadium project a few years ago, but with the discovery of Julimar, made this area, this particular geology, particularly interesting as an exploration target for new nickel, copper, platinum discoveries. We did some preliminary work. We did some geophysics, we produced some aeromagnetics. We had some really, really interesting early results, all of which AVL funded and published. And then we got a government grant for an EIS package, which is here in Western Australia for additional spending. Helps the government, government helps you spend on exploration. And we did a fence of holes over the top of the project. So the results from that indicate that we're strongly into an ultramafic suite, which makes the project extremely enticing for new drilling. And that's why it's one of the first things the company will be doing post-listing, and investors will be exposed to drilling within the first month after the IPO closes. So the Lake Johnston assets are also our lithium and nickel focused assets out in the goldfields. There's been some significant lithium discoveries in that area, including nearby by a company called Charger Minerals, which is literally just down the road from our asset base. What we've found at the moment is that the lithium and other green minerals, including copper, platinum, palladium, nickel, all have started to get a lot of interest from investor base, because they look like they're all going to be in short supply for a significant time to come. And these assets are all within Western Australia, which is an ideal location for looking for these. And also, they're also very close to well-known and well-developed mining centres such as Perth and Kalgoorlie and the Goldfields area. Australian Vanadium originally pegged these licences. They were vacant ground. There was a vanadium asset underneath them at the time. I was looking to expand our vanadium portfolio. During the course of our initial evaluation of these assets, the Julimar discovery was made, which turned the project from a sort of secondary magnetite vanadium project into a very, very real nickel, platinum, palladium, copper project opportunity. And as we did more and more work on it, we found that was something that needed significant attention. As such, while AVL has been a custodian of the project for a couple of years now, starting to get to the point where it needs its own team to manage the exploration on this project, given the opportunity we see laying out before us based on the results we found. And AVL as a company is heavily focused on the development of its Australian Vanadium project in the Midwest of WA. And as such, all of its funds and attention need to be focused on that. So what we've decided to do is maintain a level of interest over 11% on the register of the listed MG1. We've made a priority offer to AVL shareholders to join in on the listing of MG1, and they've responded very strongly, which indicates their interest in the asset. And now we can get on with the job, finish the listing, get on the boards and actually let MG1 have its own life and keep that asset value for AVL shareholders and AVL itself as we move forward. Myself, I'm the Managing Director of Australian Vanadium. I've been with the company for 8 years and have overseen its growth from a $6 million market cap to over 150 million. The project is very strongly focused on the development of its vanadium asset in the Midwest. The assets then on our team as well, my ex-chairman, Brenton Lewis, who was my chairman at AVL from my time of joining until recently when he stepped off the board. Brenton has extensive experience with human resources and operating and growing company, particularly in their style and structure. Ian Stewart, my colleague on this call, has extensive geological experience, particularly in West Australia and Africa in Archean terrains for gold and base metal, nickel exploration, and as such has also been operating in junior companies for many decades in terms of listing them and raising money for them. So excellent team member to put things together and particularly to guide the geology of the work that they do. Luke Innes, our chairman, electrical engineer, and has an extensive experience operating in junior companies with raising money and prospecting overall.
We're very fortunate to be working very closely with Australian Vanadium and Briar Resources, having been at the projects in. We work under the same roof, we share the administrative functions, we share a technical team, so it makes it very cost effective for us. But more importantly, we have high impact, high value targets to go to straight away. We've got a working team in the background we can implement and put into the ground, straight after the IPO and get cracking on the ground. And you've heard Vince's excitement on the Coates project. We also have the Lake Johnston lithium projects. We'll be straight up there post-listing, doing soil sampling, working up a drill program to execute in Q3 of this year. So a great team, high impact drilling, good projects. It's an exciting project to be growing into.
As a Managing Director of Australian Vanadium, to actually create a vehicle that allows us to explore this asset and the new assets coming in with the Briar vend, lets us get into some very, very good assets that are ideal for the whole decarbonisation space. So we've got platinum, palladium, lithium, copper, nickel, all within very, very reasonable terrains, and some really, really big discoveries and some really, really big premiums being paid for big discoveries in these areas. So we like the assets that we've got to actually create that disproportionate return for that junior investors actually want from companies like ours.